Hello everyone. We are group number 9 and we are going to talk about the chapter 11 case study in our book on IBM's Watson technology and whether or not computers can replace humans in the business world. I'm Justin Winchell, and in our group we have Andrea White, Matthew White, and Napoleon Yancey. This case examines the development and implementation of a computer system named Watson of IBM and the impact that it may have on technology in the future. It will also take a deeper look at the impact on the future of business processes and how information is handled and stored on a day-to-day basis. The Watson computer system uses natural language processing, information retrieval, knowledge representation, and machine learning technologies to gather and analyze data. To gain a little more information on Watson and how it works, we can look at different tests and see it in use. Back in 2011, IBM's Watson went on the show Jeopardy to challenge two Jeopardy champions. Not only were they champions already, but they were Ken Jennings and Brad Rutter, two champions that had long runs on the show and were very difficult to beat, and were very quick to answer. To beat these two champions, Watson was going to have to be quick in registering the question, finding the answer, and actually answering the question. Before going on Jeopardy, IBM researchers downloaded over 10 million documents, including encyclopedias, Wikipedia, the Internet Movie Database, or IMDb, and the entire archive of the New York Times. So Watson had the information, it just needed the speed. Watson can also interpret and process the human language instead of the special language that was used in the past on other systems. This means that it can better register what was being said and understand the question better. This is important because Jeopardy is famous for their wordplay, hidden meanings, and the tricky puns that challenge the contestants even more.
Now the last clue. Even a broken one of these on your wall is right twice a day. Watson.
What is clock?
Clock is correct. And with that, you move up to 23,440. 18,200 for Ken, 5,600 for Brad. Here is the final Jeopardy category. 19th century novelists. Clue coming up after this. Our three players have made their wagers. The category is 19th century novelists, and here is the clue. William Wilkinson's An Account of the Principalities of Wallachia and Moldavia inspired this author's most famous novel. 30 seconds, players. Good luck. We come to you, Brad, first. You were in third place with 5,600. You came up with what? Who is Bram Stoker? You are correct, the author of Dracula. And you will do what? You'll double your score to 11,200. And we add that to your total from yesterday, which was 10,400. That gives you a two-day total of 21,600. Over to Ken Jennings now, 18,200 going in. Bram Stoker is what we're looking for, and we find who is Stoker. I, for one, welcome our new computer overlord. And your wager? The wager was $1,000. That takes you up to 19,200. Yesterday wasn't so good for you. You had 4,800. That gives you a two-day total of 24,000. Now we come to Watson. We're looking for Bram Stoker, and we find who is Bram Stoker, and the wager? Hello, 17,973, 41,413, and a two-day total of 77,147.
While this new computer system is making huge strides in the world of technology, nothing is perfect, and Watson definitely has some downsides. When looking at the business side of the future, Watson can lead to high unemployment rates. Watson would replace many jobs dealing with call centers and similar processing jobs. It would speed up business processes and lead to higher customer satisfaction, but at what cost? Higher unemployment rates leads to the economy suffering, which would lead to business taking a dive. There is also the problem of bad data going into the system. Watson uses Wikipedia as one of its sources of knowledge, and we all know that Wikipedia is not always reliable. Bad information can go into the system, and if Watson thinks it's good information, it will use it, leading to a bad decision being made. Now that we know a little bit about Watson, we can turn our attention to question 1. When looking at the technology Watson has, we see that Watson has 10 racks of IBM power 750 servers running Linux. It also uses 15 terabytes of RAM and 2,880 processor cores. That is equivalent to about 6,000 top-end home computers. Watson also operates at 80 teraflops. So when asked about how powerful Watson is, the answer is very powerful. Watson requires such powerful hardware because it needs to be able to process a large amount of information and data quickly, including information that is gathered over the internet. The other awesome characteristic about Watson is that it is constantly learning. It can learn from its mistakes and learn new things to help make better decisions in the future. Watson needs very powerful hardware so it can continue to learn and continue to expand its knowledge. Here are a few definitions that will better illustrate the power that Watson actually has. We said on the previous slide that Watson operates on 80 teraflops. A teraflop is defined as a measure of a computer's speed and can be expressed as a trillion floating point operations per second, 10 to the 12th power floating point operations per second, and 2 to the 40th power flops. We also said that Watson uses 15 terabytes of RAM. Terabytes can be defined as a measure of computer storage capacity that is 2 to the 40th power, or approximately a trillion bytes, which is 1,000 gigabytes. Now that we know how powerful Watson really is, we have to ask, how intelligent is this Watson computer system? We mentioned back in question number 1 that Watson is continually learning new information. It needs such powerful hardware because its knowledge is ever expanding. So when thinking about Watson's intelligence, we know that it is ever changing as well. Watson actually gets smarter the more questions it gets asked. Watson has the ability to learn from its mistakes and know not to use certain information again or add more information before coming to a conclusion. Watson was able to answer the Jeopardy questions in under 3 seconds by searching the millions of pages in the encyclopedias, IMDb, and the New York Times that were downloaded into the system. Watson is also so intelligent that it understands natural human language. We mentioned this before, and what we mean by this is that Watson can pick up and decipher what is being said much more easily than computer systems in the past. People don't speak the exact same way and with the exact same accent as each other in the world. When looking at the other systems like the iPhone or other computer systems, there are times where you may say a command and the system gets it wrong. This may be because you mumbled, or maybe your accent is different than that it was programmed to hear. The computer system might take what you said and think you said something else completely different, and then you don't get the answer that you want. Watson has the ability to decipher the different accents and words correctly to understand the natural way people communicate to get the information that is actually needed. When we look at what Watson can actually do in the real world, we look towards the medical industry. The medical industry is the first industry to try the new Watson technology and implement it into their everyday operations. In this industry, Watson can use the information that it gathers to choose between treatment options and medicines for each individual patient. The Sloan Kettering Cancer Center has started using Watson to develop a decision support application for cancer treatment. Watson will generate hypotheses on treatment options and decisions for cancer patients. Watson will be able to gather information and learn from past decisions to make the best decision for each patient. The bottom line is that Watson has the ability to search massive amounts of data to respond to complex questions that are asking for it in lightning speeds. This will allow business processes to speed up and become more productive due to the quicker response time on decisions. This becomes very important in instances where a decision is needed very quickly. In the medical industry, decisions need to be made quickly because it can be a matter of a life or death situation. Watson will allow for these decisions to be made quicker and can lead to a higher survival rate. Now that we know what Watson can do, we need to look at what exactly it can't do. We mentioned earlier that Watson isn't perfect and has some downsides to it. There are some questions that need to be answered that just cannot be made statistically or with any sort of concrete information. There are a lot of decisions that need to be made with your gut and have some risk to them. With that in mind, Watson cannot make assumptions. It can give you the pros and cons of each side by giving you past information of other people in that certain situation, or giving you some stats that can be used in making the decision. However, it cannot make the decision for you and cannot forecast what would happen if you chose each option. Watson can't make assumptions and can't make decisions in every situation, and following along that same mindset, Watson cannot predict the future. Watson might suggest taking one option when making the decision, but that does not guarantee that that was the right option. Things happen that are out of our control sometimes that we could not have seen coming. Watson won't be able to forecast demand or supply or any statistic for that matter. All Watson can do is supply you with all of the information you would need in order to make your decision. Now that we know how powerful and how intelligent the Watson computer system really is, we can now look deeper into what we can use Watson for in the business world. With Watson's ability to learn and adapt itself the more and more it is used, IBM believes that Watson can have significant applications where sorting through large amounts of data is really important. When taking that into account, the two industries that could really take advantage of Watson's technology is the medical industry and the financial industry. We already talked about the medical industry briefly earlier in the presentation where Watson can be helpful. Watson would be able to contain important information for each patient along with the past documentation of each patient to quickly and efficiently treat each patient. The financial industry is an extremely fast-paced environment where if you fall behind, you suffer. It is also an industry where paperwork is being moved around constantly and mistakes can be made easily. Watson will allow these financial companies to store important documents and get to the important documents much quicker. Citibank has seen Watson's potential and has entered an agreement with IBM to explore its application of deep content analysis, natural language processing, and evidence-based learning to improve customer interactions and the digital banking experience. Watson can lead to a higher customer satisfaction, which will give them a huge competitive advantage. Citibank has a chance to be a first mover and gain an advantage on the rest of the banking world. Watson has the ability to solve many problems that will help businesses operate more quickly and efficiently. One way we talked about just a minute ago was that it will redefine customer experience by analyzing customer needs and process massive amounts of up-to-the-minute product, client, financial, and economic data. This especially pertains to manufacturing companies. These companies will be able to receive up-to-the-minute details of everything going on in operations, which will allow them to make adjustments when needed in an efficient manner. This can allow these companies an opportunity to fix a problem before it gets too large. In terms of doctors and healthcare providers, doctors are looking to Watson to analyze patient charts, electronic records, and history of medicines and past treatments to provide multiple diagnoses and treatments ranked in order of confidence. This will allow doctors to give each patient the best treatment available. Cancer centers are even using Watson to develop decision support applications for cancer treatment. These centers upload over 1 million patients' information with molecular and genomic data and use Watson's analysis to generate personal treatment for cancer patients. Watson can also save companies money on paying salaries because Watson can replace jobs involving transactions conducted over telephones or other mediums. The only downside to this is the fact that it can lead to thousands of unemployed workers. This can in turn hurt the economy, which will hurt business in the long run. So in conclusion, Watson is a very powerful computer that just becomes more intelligent as it is being used. This technology can really help businesses operate more efficiently and quickly and can help the business world in the long run. We thank you for listening.